you so much for your interest in our Summer Discovery backpacks. Today, we're going to be talking about birds. Look at all these birds. There's so many of them. How am I ever going to figure out how to identify them? Well, guess what? In this video, we will tell you a little bit tips and tricks on how to identify birds and also how to use binoculars. Because some of these birds are very small and they're easier to see with binoculars, so we'll teach you how to use them, little tips and tricks for that. And in the backpack, there will also be field guides. And there's even bird bingo. So that's just a little bit of the stuff that's going to be in the backpack, and then you'll get on your way to becoming the best birder. So let's learn a couple tips and tricks in order to identify birds. So this is a bird that I think all of you might know, a cardinal. It's the northern cardinal. It's actually the state bird of North Carolina. And we're going to look at this cardinal and try to identify different things about it. And there's an acronym you can use, which is GISS. G-I-S-S, general impression, shape, and size. So for the cardinal, in general, we all know that they're red, at least the male cardinal. So that's something that we can do to identify them. Another thing is their tuft on the top. So that's another identification marker for them. For the shape, their body is a slender, long shape, but they're not too tall. And their size is a mid-sized bird for a songbird. And as for the shape of birds, let's go on to how you can compare the body type, or what the body looks like of the bird. So with a cardinal, it's kind of a rounder shape, and with a goose, it's a longer shaped body. Of course, in real life, these birds are bigger than each other, a bigger size or a smaller size than each other than our stuffed animals we have right here. So a goose is a longer shaped bird, while a cardinal stands up on its two legs. And then when we're talking about size, you can compare something like a hummingbird, which is a very small bird, to a pelican, which is a bigger bird. And another thing with size, if you are very familiar with, say, a cardinal, if you're talking about the backyard songbirds, if you see another songbird and you say, that bird looks like it's bigger or smaller than a cardinal. And that's a way that you can tell the difference between birds, and a way that you can go home, look at your field guide, and try to figure it out. So now Morgan is going to show us how to use binoculars. Take it away, Morgan.
All right. Binoculars are a great tool to use when you're looking at birds or other kinds of wildlife. And obviously you've got two parts that you can look through, one for your left eye, one for your right eye. And there are, on the binoculars in our backpacks, two different ways to adjust the view through the binoculars. You've got a focus wheel in the middle. When you spin this left or right, it zooms in or out to get things that are closer or further away in the proper focus so they're not blurry. But everybody has a slight difference between how well your right eye and your left eye can see. And on the right eyepiece, there's also an adjustment wheel that helps you get a perfect sharp image that takes into account how your eyes are different from each other, so both eyes are in focus. So looking at our cardinal friend in the tree, of course he's not a real cardinal, he is a plushy cardinal, but he's a great volunteer for this demonstration. I'm going to start by closing my right eye, and I'm going to look through with my left eye and use that focus wheel in the middle and spin it until the cardinal is in focus and doesn't look blurry anymore. All right, that looks good. Now I'm going to close my left eye and look through with my right eye. And now, even though the cardinal was just in focus, he's a tiny bit blurry because my right eye is different from my left. So I'm going to use that adjustment ring on the right eyepiece and spin it until the cardinal looks clear again. Okay, that's pretty good. And then I'll open both eyes and look with both eyes, and ta-da! The cardinal is in a great, crisp, clear image, and I can see him very well through the binoculars. Now the great thing, once you have adjusted the right eyepiece, you don't have to keep changing that because your right eye is not changing while you're watching birds at different distances. Once the binoculars are set up so that they're comfortable for your eyes, you can just use that center focus wheel to change the way that things look as you're looking at birds all around. And that's how you use binoculars correctly.
Thank you for watching our video about birds.